Hey guys, it's Katelyn. I wanted to do a recap of day one of Thrival Innovation. So if you live in Pittsburgh, you're probably familiar with Thrival Music Fest, but it is Thrival Innovation and Music Fest. And what I think makes the event so unique is that the Music Fest is awesome, but you can have a Music Fest anywhere. You can always go to a Music Fest. What makes Thrival really unique to me is all of the innovation work leading up to it. So all week there's free talks going on, a lot of demos from local companies, startups, all kinds of innovation that gets featured that's going on right here in Pittsburgh, and it's an incredible event. So I try to take advantage of as much as I can of the innovation side of things, because the Music Fest is awesome, but this to me is what's so unique. It comes around once a year and I'm gonna live it up and I'm gonna soak up every moment. So today was day one. Going into it, I knew there weren't gonna be necessarily anybody I knew there. I knew there were people I would most likely run into that I know, but my goal today was to make new friends and to make more friends, because the kind of people that go to things like this are always motivated, really inspiring, interesting people. And I take value out of every single conversation I have, and today did not disappoint. So the talks I heard were amazing. One of them that stood out to me was a talk on podcasts. And you don't even necessarily have to be starting your own podcast to take something away from a talk like that, because so much of it was based on communication and sharing your story and your career path and why one thing leads to a next and how that unfolds is really inspiring. So after the talk, I got to talk with Aaron Watson, who has his own podcast, and he's just an excellent communicator, dynamic person, really amazing personality, but has the insight to really listen to who he's talking to and be able to ask the questions that get that person to go a little deeper, which is reflected in his podcast, which is called Going Deep with Aaron Watson, which is totally fitting. But it's also apparent just in his social communication and social style. So some of the stuff he told me about how he picks up on those certain cues from people was just fascinating. So hearing him give a background on how he got started on podcasts and why, and then being able to talk to him after was amazing. There was another speaker at that same talk, Marta, who I also spoke with after, who just was so willing to help. And she even said this in the talk, that Pittsburgh was really unique in that we have this culture of entrepreneurs that just want to help each other and just want to pour into each other and build each other up. There's never a what's in it for me or strings attached. And that's what I think is so special about Pittsburgh, and why something like Thrival's Innovation Fest is so special and unique and such a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of, because meeting people like that is the lifeblood, I think, of what we do here. So knowing there's a support system to help you in advancing your goals and dreams and businesses is incredible. But even if the people that you're meeting are outside of your industry, there's always something we can learn from that. So again, my goal today was to meet new people and to make friends and connections, and I'm really proud of myself. I think I did that in a wonderful way. Each session I was in, I met more people. There was definitely time to have, this wasn't just quick conversations before the sessions. There's definitely time to have in-depth conversations and learn the thorough backgrounds of people I was talking to. I met a new good friend, Alyssa, who spent 15 months in Indonesia and is now back in Pittsburgh and is doing Alzheimer's research at Pitt. And it's just incredible to hear the stories of some of the people I met. So if nothing else, that to me is gold. That is so worthwhile. But then I was also able to reconnect with my friend Steven, who's an amazing photographer and videographer, and my friend Michelle, who does amazing podcast work, but has also started a new role at a new company, and my friend Kenny, who actually works for Thrival, which he did a ton of work getting everything for Thrival set up, and he's one of the guys behind the scenes. And so talking a little bit more, he's somebody who's already a friend of mine, but at the end of the night, at the after party, we got to talk a lot about his background, and his background, part of which I never even knew, was in social psychology and motivation, and things that I just find so valuable and so interesting. Like, there's something I took away from every single conversation I had today. It was amazing. So the sessions were really good. I went to a women in bio session that had to do with something that I'm not specifically interested in. It was DNA research, which I think is cool, but I don't know a ton about it, other than maybe a brief background when I was still in school. But what was cool was that it was related to justice and crimes like rape and how DNA affects that and the research behind that. But then it also tied into psychology of how we can prevent things like this from happening. So it turned into a really empowering, inspiring session on a tough topic. And then later tonight, Dr. Bennett Amalu was in town to talk. He did a lot of his work in discovering chronic traumatic encephalopathy in Pittsburgh, and he gave one of the most powerful, inspiring talks I've ever heard. And to hear him talk about how, despite how much his work was being suppressed, he knew inside he had to be his best self, and he had to stick with his truth and have that conviction in his beliefs to serve greater humanity was one of the most inspiring, powerful messages I've ever heard. And he related it to a way that we could all take away from it. So all in all, it was an amazing day one. The Thrival talks, the innovation talks, there's also a demo hall where a lot of local companies are doing demos of what they have to offer and new products and just all the amazing stuff that is happening right here in Pittsburgh. That'll all be taking place tomorrow and Thursday. It's a really cool, unique event. So it's all free, all the daytime stuff. So if you're available, I highly recommend dropping in for even one of the talks. And just, it's an environment where people are there to get to know you and to get to know your story. So it doesn't matter if you don't know anybody. Going in with the intention of meeting other people and hearing their stories and connecting with people, that to me is one of the coolest things about this event. So I would say mission accomplished for day one, but I also have to say huge shout out to the people at Thrill Mill, my friend Kenny, who helped to organize the whole thing. It was a phenomenal event today, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the week holds. So I'll check back in with you guys later in the week.